everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm talking about Bitcoin real quick. Whales are still in. It's still forming higher highs and higher lows here on the monthly chart. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, as expected, the Tenkan, the blue line, what I said it was going to rise up from 50,000 to around 53,000, ends up rising up to around 54,000. So far price is no longer all that way overextended away from the Tenkan anymore. It's gotten a little bit closer to it. And that's a good thing, right? If you look at the Supaichi cloud, you can still see the Tenkan is right there. And it on the Supaichi cloud, it doesn't look like it's overextended at all. So there's a potential price might end up pushing up for the month of July or even potentially August. The upper Bollinger Band is continuing to rise, right? You're no longer anywhere near above the upper Bollinger Band. I think we have already sufficiently cooled down sideways enough, but whales still haven't left. So this is a pretty bullish look to it. We still have a little bit more of a contraction look to it, kind of like over here, potentially before the expansion happens, right? I see a lot more similarities over here as opposed to over here. It's just kind of been quarreling sideways. I also see a lot of similarities between over here and me also some similarities over here as well, where price kind of goes sideways. And you have a little bit of Bollinger Band, contraction and squeeze over here, maybe before the next move to come up, which is probably going to be up. And I do think that right now the upper Bollinger Band is at around $74,254. There's a potential for it to potentially hit up there for the month of July. And it could even go up higher and push above the upper Bollinger Band and even go higher and continue to expand the Bollinger Band even higher further to really continue this bull trend here after consolidation for about 4 months straight. Now, I'm going to take a look at a weekly here now. If you look at a weekly, you can see that whales may be a little bit declining, but they never really left, right? And this whole sideways trend over here, if you worry about being bearish, I wouldn't, because it's just low volume chop sideways over here, consolidating and cooling down some of the indicators here before going up higher, right? You have a really, really nice bullish candle over here. I'm going to pull out the EMA ribbon, which consists of the 20 and 50 EMA ribbon, 2050 EMA here. To form the ribbon here, I'll show you what I mean by a really, really nice look, right? When you have these kind of hammer candles that test liquidity underneath, below, test demand, and you find demand, you can have some pretty crazy move that happens afterwards, right? You found demand over here at, underneath the EMA ribbon, and it just kept going up higher a lot after that. You have one, hammer candle over here that looks like it wanted to try to get to the EMA ribbon. They couldn't even touch it before and just end up shooting up higher, right? What ended up happening with that candle is that it even, got closer to our support band, but you couldn't even touch it and it just kept going higher. So far, things went a little bit too parabolic, way too far, way too fast, just back testing once and twice and finding some really, really good demand over here, like demand. This is a very, very nice hammer candle. And we also have yet another really nice hammer candle that formed last week right into the upper third of the EMA ribbon. And this is generally a pretty bullish sign. Like, I like these kind of hammer candles on decent volume here too. So something could potentially happen moving forward. If you look at Ichimoku cloud, it's still stuck between the Tenkan and Kijun, right? No big deal, right? If you look at the Supaichi cloud, it's still stuck right between the Tenkan and Kijun, although the range here is a little bit more tight. It's kind of nice that it found support over here at the Kijun here on the weekly on the Supaichi cloud. Looking at the boomerang support band, it's still stuck inside a boomerang support band. It's just been going sideways here. So not bullish, not bearish looking at that. But I do think a bigger move is probably going to end up coming soon. The reason why I say that is because look at how the Bollinger Band on the weekly is squeezing. It's just squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter. And I think a big move is probably going to end up happening over the next few weeks, if I have to guess, because of how bullish the structure has been. If I have to guess what the next move is, and if I have to guess based on this demand candle, based on this hammer bottom candle over here, the next move is probably going to be explosive going upwards to 70,000s, 80,000 zone is going to be my guess. Because we consolidated sideways enough for 4 months straight. I mean, I think that this is telling you that something is going to happen pretty soon. Now, you know what else looks even better than Bitcoin? I keep saying this. There's a coin out there that looks better than Bitcoin in terms of its current bullishness, in terms of its technical analysis is going to be Ethereum. Ethereum just have a very, very nice hammer over here as well. And if you look at the Ethereum EMA ribbon, it looks like it didn't even jab inside. It looks like there's a lot of demand even on top of the EMA ribbon, right around the 20-week EMA, right? And it looks like it just wants to go higher. It looks like it's just basically been forming 5 and number 6 inside candles up this candle over here. And when you have these inside candles, basically just means there's a lot of consolidation and the primary trend is still up. Bulls came in with like some huge momentum up, and then bears spent about 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and it's just been going nowhere for the bears, right? If anything, the bears have just been pushing price back down to support down here at the Tenkan around 3,400, and it didn't break down. Very, very nice support over here at 3,400. It looks like most likely the move is going to end up being higher after that because the bears already shown that they're weak. And this whole bearish move right here has been on really pathetic volume over here. Whales are still in. I think this is a very, very bullish chart, moving forward. A couple other really kind of bullish things to look in terms of Ethereum. There's this chart, which is the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. The higher the price is, the better Ethereum looks against Bitcoin, right? You can see a little bit more bullish momentum that's been happening so far. You have inside candles number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very similar to the Ethereum chart in general, right? But basically this chart is saying that it looks like Ethereum wants to start to potentially outperform Bitcoin here a little bit. I'm going to pull up some indicator here. I'm going to show you how the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart is really trying to challenge the Ichimoku cloud, trying to break inside the Ichimoku cloud and potentially even break above the Ichimoku cloud. When this happens, I think it's going to get really bullish for Ethereum, right? When this happened over here around the around June or July of 2020, once it really is breaking through the Ichimoku cloud, that's when Ethereum really started mooning, right? So right now it looks like there's a lot of momentum trying to break above the Ichimoku cloud. I'm finding this look to be very, very bullish. So we'll see what happens, right? If you also look at the monthly chart of the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart, it's been going sideways to the point that it just ended up pushing inside the Ichimoku cloud. That's green. Green means go. So there's potential, and it's also above the Tenkan over here, right? Flip the Tenkan, the blue line over here, from resistance over here to support, right? So the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart is looking much, much, much better on both the monthly and the weekly. There's a potential for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin over the next 6 months or so. That is what I'm looking at. Now, if you also look at the Bitcoin dominance, look at a monthly chart of Bitcoin dominance, it looks like it wants to roll over. The Tenkan keeps on going up, but it looks like it's really decelerating. And right now, it looks like we spend months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trying to break above the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly, but unable to do so. This really looks like a bad rolling over kind of look for Bitcoin dominance. I think there's a potential of Bitcoin dominance to drop, maybe even back test the bottom of the cloud, and that would be pretty significant for altcoins, especially for Ethereum. So we'll see what happens. Now, I just wanted to show you a couple other things here too. One is that instead of looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum and looking how Bitcoin may potentially be continuing its bullishness, but Ethereum may be even more bullish moving forward, what other ways can you look at in terms of any kind of Bitcoin derivatives that could end up doing pretty decent, right? Well, there is one, which is CleanSpark. I just made a whole video about CleanSpark, but I did not mention in terms of what CleanSpark does in relations to Bitcoin. A lot of people just think that CleanSpark is going to be a derivative, it's going to just move along with Bitcoin. Well, there's a certain period where it where it outperforms Bitcoin. There's certain periods where it underperforms, right? Over the last, this is a monthly chart, right? Over the last year or so, it really does look like, CleanSpark was outperforming Bitcoin, except that CleanSpark has really kind of gone sideways and doing a whole heck of a lot of nothing. But you look at a monthly chart of CleanSpark over Bitcoin, you had a bullish crossover in January 2024, and it still looks like CleanSpark has just reclaimed the Tenkan and Kijun, and looks like it wants to push higher to the cloud up here, which means that perhaps CleanSpark would potentially outperform Bitcoin moving forward, right? That's the monthly chart. Now, if you look at the weekly chart, you can already see that CleanSpark has already outperformed Bitcoin. It's just been consolidating sideways over here, and it's above the Ichimoku cloud. So actually, if I had to pick between CleanSpark and Bitcoin, I would pick one based on objective technical analysis, CleanSpark is actually winning, right? Which is kind of insane to think about. What about Mara? Well, Mara weekly underneath the cloud, but that's okay. It's just been oscillating between up and down. If anything, I think Mara actually looks like it's been performing about the same with Bitcoin. If you would have bought somewhere around like April 2022, how Mara has performed is basically the same exact thing as Bitcoin. It's just been oscillating around the Ichimoku cloud here on the weekly, right? On the monthly, you can see that it's been trying to get back above perhaps to the Tenkan Kijun up here, and there's still a lot more room for Mara to potentially outperform. It ends up catching up to how you say, reverting back to the mean, right? So there's a potential for Mara to continue to outperform Bitcoin in the short run here as well, right? One thing that is getting a lot of people kind of worried today, MicroStrategy didn't do so well, even though Bitcoin did really well today, up a few percent. But MicroStrategy actually ended up having a little bit of a red day today. Why is that? Well, it's been trying to break about the Ichimoku cloud here in terms of this MSTR over Bitcoin chart, right? MSTR has been outperforming Bitcoin for quite some time now. This is the monthly chart. It's been outperforming Bitcoin really for the last 8 or 9 months, or even you would count maybe like 12 or 13 months before. It's just been outperforming, right? It's just forming a little bit of a bull flag over here, and it's basically kind of stuck inside the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly. So it's just basically doing what is necessary before is bullish continuation of outperformance against Bitcoin. And it looks like it's basically bounced back down here on the weekly to backtest the Tenkan over here. But MicroStrategy has been very nicely outperforming Bitcoin. You look at how it's looking with the Ichimoku cloud, right? So far you got a few things here. You got a few charts over here that they're looking pretty bullish against Bitcoin, and you might end up outperforming Bitcoin, right? If you look at the Coinbase chart, look at the Ichimoku cloud, you don't quite have the bullish cross over here, but it looks like things are above the Tenkan Kijun. So Coin actually also looks better. Coin over Bitcoin chart also looks, pretty decent. Coin looks like it might outperform the Bitcoin, in the foreseeable future. It also looks like this Coin over Bitcoin chart is breaking above the Ichimoku cloud, just going sideways, maybe trying to get a little bit closer to the Ichimoku cloud before going up higher. It's just been consolidating for quite some time, right? But coins still also look better than Bitcoin in general. Now, instead of looking at the Ichimoku cloud, I also want to look at the bull market support band, right? CleanSpark over Bitcoin, right at the bull market support band, bouncing from it. Mara over Bitcoin, reclaiming the bull market support band. MSTR over Bitcoin, getting closer back, testing the bull market support band. And Coinbase over Bitcoin is right at the bull market support band. So all of these look like they want to outperform Bitcoin, to be completely honest with you. Although I will never tell you to get into assets beyond Bitcoin. I'll never tell you what to do in general. But I do think that things are looking pretty decent for these other assets, which are, kind of interesting to think about, actually. Looking at the MicroStrategy chart, I wouldn't worry because price is still really on top of the bull market support band here on the weekly. And if you also look at the Bollinger Band, it looks like it wants to squeeze together with Bitcoin. If you look at the weekly Ichimoku cloud, it's still kind of a little bit stuck underneath the Tenkan, down a bit below. And the whales are still in, so I'm not really that worried about MicroStrategy. It still looks like a bull flag here on the monthly, and the whales are still in MicroStrategy here on the monthly, right? And I just showed you the MSTR Bitcoin chart. I still think MSTR most likely is going to end up having a lot of bullish continuation and potentially even continue to outperform Bitcoin. It also looks like it's underneath the upper Bollinger Band, and the top of the upper Bollinger Band here is around 1600, 1614 to be precise. So I think that might be a magnet price for a month of July. Or maybe in the month of August, if the Bollinger Band continue to expand. The lower Bollinger Band also is continuing to expand down below, so it looks like this bull trend is not really anywhere really near being over, and I wouldn't necessarily let today to discourage you from MicroStrategy based on looking at this, right? I also want to point out that on the monthly Ichimoku cloud, the Tenkan also has risen. So right now, price is not that far, overextended above the Tenkan anymore. So these are all kind of bullish sign to tell us that maybe there's room for continued bullish continuation, right? Coinbase chart basically looked very similar to MicroStrategy. Used to have whales in. Ichimoku Cloud continues to be showing that prices above the Tenkan got some pretty decent chance for bullish continuation. The Bollinger Band also looked very similar between MicroStrategy and Coinbase. Basically you have price just kind of overextended. It's been cooling down for months, and right now price just got underneath the upper Bollinger Band. The upper Bollinger Band right now is around 270, so that could potentially serve as a little bit of a magnet for the month of July or August. Whales are still in. Overall, things are still looking pretty decent. You look at the weekly chart, you have price also bouncing back on top of the bull market support band. And you also look at the Bollinger Band, it also looks very squeezy, so it looks like it wants to make a big move soon. Most likely it's going to end up be a big move upwards, right? Also, just looking at the EMA ribbon, like everything looks super nice. Like MicroStrategy, look at the EMA ribbon whenever it wants to pop up. It looks super nice, right? Look at Coinbase, look at the EMA ribbon, it looks super nice, thick, using that to serve as support, right? So overall, I still think that this is a very, very nice bull trend for Bitcoin. I still think that a lot of Bitcoin derivatives, such as MSTR, such as Coinbase, such as Mara, and such as CleanSpark, they could potentially outperform. And also, I think Ethereum could also potentially outperform here, based on what I'm seeing maybe over the next 6 months or so. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.